need to see too much of the fight to see what was going on there. Kind of sad Mosley Jr. would do a shoulder roll when his father was like one of the most exciting fighters of our era. You think he would have seen his dad throw
Bro,
enough combinations?
It's mind-boggling that they built this whole thing for Shane Mosley.
Well, I'm telling. Well, it's not really mind-boggling. He's Mosley Jr. He's marketable. No, there's very Lee. They probably got almost 600,000 views on this thing. Like, let me tell you, if you're some good-looking kid but don't get a lot of exposure, you would want to get into this tournament as fast as you can for next season, because those are some serious numbers when you weren't doing shit already.
Right, but okay, so I had this thought during the fight, and tell me if I'm wrong, Andrew. So as I was watching the fight, especially the 4 undercards in the co-main event, everybody, and this happened in the main event, everybody fought tight. I mean, really tight. First of all, they were in an arena that was probably bigger, in front of a crowd that was bigger than anything they've ever been previously, that's being live streamed to 500,000 people. So they got more eyes on them ever, right? This isn't being taped and having the sound punched up or any of that stuff. And by the way, if you watch the Contender, they're adding sound when those guys land punches. That's why it sounds and feels like a better fight when you're watching the replay. They chop it up and turn it into something to watch. Boxing as a whole, these guys were fighting super tight, and I wonder if it doesn't cause more damage to some of these younger fighters.
No, I don't know. I wouldn't say that. These are usually bottom of the barrel, ranked guys that are just trying to get a shot, and
right,
some of them
which is why season 2 went to Sam Solomon and Sakio Bika. They took journeyman in the second season.
Well, they took advantage of the system, but you've seen that didn't work for like the likes of Ishii Smith, though. He was a season contender going into the first one, and he didn't win.
Yeah, but he had a head full of bad wiring. I mean, you can't fix somebody who's fucked up.
Well, I'm just saying it doesn't always work out in your favor just because you had you were better skilled, or said on paper you were supposed to be better. Doesn't mean it works. Yeah. Either way. This show will live on. Those numbers are great. When I seen that on the stream, 475, you can't look past that. There were people that were interested in this thing. Bone Adams, is that his name? What's his name?
Who?
The Adams, the guy that won.
Adams, yeah. It is Adams. You got it right.
What's his first name?
Oh, his first name is Brandon.
I called him Bone.
Brandon the Cannon Adams.
Yeah. Brandon Adams.
Who was out of boxing for 3 years. Let me say that again. He was out of boxing for 3 years when he came back for the Contender.
Hey, needed a break. He started fresh. He came in, he worked. I didn't watch the whole fight.
I love that Keith Idec wrote the article on this like he was at the fight. By the way, Keith Idec was not at the fight. He watched it on TV from home while eating popcorn. No doubt.
Or from up the freeway a little at the ESPN fight.
Yeah, either way.
I'm telling you, that ESPN fight. I know Bill was there. Bill was on ESPN.
Of course he was.
Yeah, he was a photographer.
Of course he was. Of course he was.
Yeah, I seen him, so yeah, you know.
But here's the thing, and I'm going to say this to everybody who didn't go. They gave you a $15 voucher for food. They gave you free parking at the Forum. They have Pink's hot dogs, for God's sakes. If I had to choose strictly based on whether or not I wanted to see Jesus Soto Carras or eat Pink's hot dogs at the Forum, I'm going to take eating Pink's hot dogs at the Forum every day. I'm just telling you. Let me tell you,
if the Contender is getting that much, if those numbers are real, which I'm guessing they are, right?
You can't fake a scream. Yes.
Okay.
They're real.
So if there's that much interest still in this show, it just takes the right fighter to double those numbers. Obviously, Shane Mosley Jr. wasn't it. Look at the kid had his moment under the Golden Boy banner and was losing when he was given tomato cans. He wasn't undefeated in this Contender series. So his momentum had already died in the sport. And then, his dad, his legendary status really got hurt when he got busted for the steroids. Shane Mosley gets as much respect as he once did before those Belko allegations came out. This is a guy who beat almost every Mexican fighter of his era. Vargas, De La Hoya, Margarito, He should be a legend in Southern California for the guys that he defeated. Yet, I think once you get popped dirty, it just hurt his brand, if that's what you want to call it. And that kind of fell onto his son. And then with his son not being that good, especially in this fight, like I said, the shoulder roll, what are you doing? Like, do you know who your dad is? Your dad used to throw some crazy ass fast combinations, hooks, rights, uppercut. It was, Shane Mosley was an exciting fighter. It was just, at least, like you could say, Chavez Jr. might suck, but he goes in there and at least throws down with the guy. He takes his ass whooping like a man. Like basically what his dad did, just at a much smaller level. Like his dad still had defense. He was one of the greatest. And Chavez Jr. is nowhere near that. But you could tell he's Chavez's son. That night, I don't know what the fuck Mosley was thinking in that fight. He was getting outpointed very early. He should have switched it up. Go back to what you know. Obviously, maybe he wasn't, like you said, Lee, maybe he didn't hang around his dad as much as we give him credit for.
boxingscene.com's reporter Miguel Rivera, Felix Verdejo returns in style, crushes Cruz in 2 rounds. Puerto Rican prospect. I don't know if I'd use that word. Puerto Rican boxer. Felix Verdejo.
Once prospect. Yeah,
he's not a prospect anymore. 24-1, 16 KOs, returned in style with a second-round knockout win of Mexico's Yardley Armenta Cruz, 24-12. What a record. At the Mario Quixote Morales Coliseum.
You're doing good,
in Puerto Rico. A solid hook sent Cruz down to the canvas, and he was unable to regain his senses. For Verdejo, who had not fought in 8 months, it was the victory that he needed to regain some of his confidence. The last time we saw Verdejo, the last time Verdejo saw action was back in March, when he suffered a 10th round TKO defeat at the hands of Antonio Lozada of New York's Madison Square Garden. I was about to roll the R's on Madison Square Garden. Verdejo, I have to work hard on these. Verdejo's future was unclear after tasting his first career loss. There was several lackluster performances in the past, and he lost a guaranteed world title shot after suffering injuries from a motorbike. Motorbike? Who uses that? It's a motorcycle. Who uses the term motorbike? What the fuck country are you from, Miguel? Motorbike. He was sporting around town on his motorbike while hanging out with his friends. Okay, here's what it sounds like. The motorcycle
blamed it on the friends.
He was drunk, hanging out with people, jumped on a motorcycle, and fucking totaled it.
If he wasn't with those low lives, he wouldn't have gotten in that accident.
That's right. After taking a loss, one of the great... one gets more serious. You learn from your loss, said Verdejo. Thank God and Puerto Rico for the support. Great. I'm sure somewhere Willie is excited that Felix Verdejo is back. And that's the only person excited about Verdejo, and the only reason Verdejo is discussed in the press or anywhere is because of Guillermo Jimenez III.
No, stop it. He's one of Puerto Rico's rising stars of 2 years ago. He needs a few more wins to get right back.
Did you just listen to the sentence that came out of your face?
Lee, he got in a
He was a
motorcycle
rising
accident
star from Puerto Rico 2 years ago.
And I'm sure there's a lot of Puerto Rican fans. He's 24-1. Whoop-de, that's not that bad of a record, bro. Seriously. He needs
boxing,
a few more.
It means he doesn't get a title fight.
Remember, this is a kid that they both thought Terrence Crawford and Mikey Garcia avoided. Okay? He was ready for that fight back then, and both of them are no longer in the division that he's in. So who knows if he's going to bring it back or not. This is a good step in that direction, getting a knockout victory. And Top Rank is still working with them. So obviously their scouts see something in Verdejo still that they're not ready to give up on them. So yeah, it's only good for the sport. Puerto Rico needs some fighters. Puerto Rico's been kind of dry here on
Puerto Rico's a shithole.
Yeah, there you go, Lee.
We don't have any Puerto Rico listeners.
Oh, stop. That's embarrassing. You got Will. You just said Willie. Now you say you don't.
Doesn't listen to the show? He only listens when he's on it. And And by the way, he's repopulating the planet with so many Puerto Ricans, it doesn't matter.
And they're probably all listening in the car, and you're saying this
his
right
kids,
now. Think about
his kids better not be listening in the car.
You never know.
He is creating his own little Puerto Rico in Las Vegas right now as we speak. His poor wife. My God.
Hey, so yeah.
That is
Puerto Rico needs a star. They're kind of dry. So, yeah, this is a good step. Next.
Keith Idec, who is multitasking for boxing scene. Yurkis Gamboa beats Beltran. One of the fight fans most wanted to see in 2010 apparently will happen 9 years later. Yurkis Gamboa Saturday night. Yeah, that sentence is funny all by itself. It's like saying top rising prospect from 2 years ago.
Oh, stop.
Yurkis.
It was a motorcycle accident, bro. Give the guy some slack. He flew through the air and like hit a car or something.
Dude, I can't even handle that Joey Bosa's got some kind of hip pointer, all right? Get out there. We pay you a lot of money. Go do your shit, all right? I don't care if you're fucked up. I think it makes for a better fight if you send a fucked up fighter out there. At least we'll get it over with. One of the fights fans most wanted to see in 2010 will apparently happen 9 years later. Yuriokius, Shamalama Ding Dong Gamboa Saturday night that he'll finally fight Juan Manuel Lopez in March. Once Gamboa beat Beltran, Puerto Rico's Lopez jumped into the ring to challenge Gamboa to fight promoter. What the fuck, Keith? The whole thing is fucked. Like, did you just phone it in on Saturday? Like, he's a hit or miss writer. I swear to God. I'm going to read this verbatim. One of the fight fans most... By the way, this is a review of a fight, but he's talking about a future fight without talking about the actual fight. What the fuck, Keith? One of the fights fans... That sentence is so bad. One of the fights fans most wanted to see in 2010 apparently will happen 9 years later. Yuriokis Gamboa said Saturday night that he'll finally fight Juan Manuel Lopez in March or April. Now they've both won lightweight tune-up fights in Miami, period. Cuba's Gamboa was busier and better than Miguel Beltran Jr. throughout their 10-round bout. The main event Saturday night at Miami-Dade County Fair Expo. Once Gamboa beat Beltran, Puerto Rico's Lopez, which I almost want to read it the way he wrote it. Once Gamboa beat Beltran, Puerto Rico's Lopez jumped into the ring to challenge Gamboa to a fight promoter. This is a real sentence, Andrew.
I'm seeing
Puerto Rico's Lopez jumped into the ring to challenge Gamboa to a fight promoter, Bob Arum, infamously marinated into irrelevance.
Yeah.
Am I wrong about this sentence?
No, there's a lot going on.
Once Gamboa beat Beltran, this is the way he wrote it, people. Once Gamboa beat Beltran, Puerto Rico's Lopez jumped into the ring to challenge Gamboa to a fight. Promoter Bob, there's another comma missing there. That's
That's
Gamboa to a fight, promoter Bob Arum infamously marinated into irrelevance. Okay. Fuck.
Maybe he is voice texting. He's forgetting to use the word comma where they should go.
Lopez,
you know, when you voice text something in, you got to say period, comma, right? They don't just drop them.
I guess. He must be audio dictating.
Yep.
Painful.
Hey, listen.
You know what? I got to start. You know what, bro? I got to start writing just so I could be a member of the Boxing Writers Association. This is some horrendous fucking writing.
I told you. I asked them if I could get kicked out. They started laughing at me.
Yeah, you can't. You just submit any shit. They don't care. Oh, it looks like words on a page.
Like that. I think I hope I was underestimating my writing skills, but yeah, you could put it in that term too.
You could fucking phone it in clearly, because Keith Idec's going to write the next story, and it's just as fucking whacked out as the previous story.
Yeah, listen, the Gamboa Lopez thing, that's a Miami. I guess they're trying to make some fight in Miami, make a little local money there. Yeah, 9 years too late, buddy. You guys are not Pacquiao Mayweather. Sorry. Move on.
Which takes us to the biggest fight of Saturday night.
Yes.
Alexander Usyk. there's no, like, how do you start your name with a vowel and then have no, like, there's the chemical sign for boron in his first